I thought Bob was drinking.
I was.
What happened?
I stopped so that I could do this interview.
Oh, well, that makes one of us. Tell us a bit about yourself and your journey through MBTI.
My journey through MBTI, initially I've always been interested in psychology from just a young age. That interest kind of led me to initially to attachment styles, which then led me to Enneagrams, which then led me to MBTI. And when I got into MBTI, there was just so much information out there, and I just found it really fascinating that there were, I guess, terms and just like specific categories that you could put people into, which I enjoyed putting people into categories to begin with, but now I had, I guess, terms and labels and types that I could put them into. However, there was so much information and everybody had, different definitions, a lot of things that contradicted. And yeah, that's what I guess kind of led me to finding you in your Discord is I saw one of your videos. One, I thought that you were really funny. And then two, I don't know, I guess just the way that you talked about the cognitive functions. They made a lot of sense to me, and it sounded like you were a person who cared more about the accuracy than protecting people's feelings, which I appreciated and I enjoyed. And yeah, that's how I found you in your Discord and really got into MBTI.
Let's hope a majority of people appreciate not caring about feelings.
Yeah, we can only hope.
That doesn't seem likely, huh? Let's see.
No.
What is your favorite way to spend your free time?
Now I spend my free time either playing video games or talking to people on your Discord. I do enjoy talking to people, lots of interesting people, all very unique. I enjoy getting to know them, conversing with them. I enjoy watching shows or documentaries about outer space a lot too. I think I enjoy it because it kind of takes you out of reality, I suppose. It takes you out of the day-to-day life and all the tasks and obligations that you have in the real world, and you get to spend some time, I guess, kind of learning, thinking, wondering about something that's beyond, what's happening here on Earth.
Instead of doing productive things.
Yes.
Do you have any quirky habits or hobbies that define your personality?
Quirky habits. I guess this would be a habit. I tend to ask people to define what they're saying or what they're asking a lot, which I don't know if that's I think it's a habit because I do it all the time. And it's just because if we're relating it to MBTI and everything, I think it's because of the different perspectives or possibilities that I can see. And so I want, the accurate definition of whatever word they might be saying or, what they're meaning when they're asking a question. And so I tend to ask, I guess, people to define what they mean a lot when I'm talking to them. I guess that would be a habit.
Have you found congruency between your understanding of MBTI now and how people act in real life?
Yes, yeah. Like I said, I kind of already had, I guess, my way of categorizing and grouping people before. I just didn't really have terms to, there are terms that can define it. Like, for example, the extroverted thinking, I said that I used to just think of it or call it groupthink, which is a term, but
I get a lot of hate for that one, sure.
Yeah, so, but just having like specific definitions for those terms, and I guess a more tactful way of labeling them. So yes, and I have found either looking through my past or interacting with people in my day-to-day life today, that it does seem pretty consistent.
You plan on sticking with MBTI for a while?
I think so, just because, there's a lot of people in the world, and, some of those types are pretty, they are pretty rare, or you'll only find them in specific places or situations, and it's almost like going on a treasure hunt, I guess, to kind of, you want to see and talk to and experience all the people, all the different types that those people fall into. So I think it will take me some time to satisfy that need, I guess.
How did you discover your ENTP personality type? How has it impacted your life?
Well, you and Ben typed me as an ENTP, so I guess that's how I found it. When I was originally looking through MBTI and reading up on the definitions for the cognitive functions myself, I already sensed that I had introverted thinking and extroverted feeling, but I wasn't 100% sure where it was in those preferences or exactly what type I was. So you and Ben kind of confirmed that for me.
And you agreed with it?
I don't spend a lot of time thinking about myself, so I don't reflect on it a lot. But from what I've seen, yeah, I do agree with. I definitely see all those functions within me. The extroverted intuition and the inferior introverted sensing, that one I definitely see a lot. Do you see the functions within yourself as well?
No, I don't know. I don't see them. I feel them every day, especially when I wake up and look at my absolute sty of a room and think to myself, I'd rather imagine something than actually get off my ass.
I will say, though, that in the few times that I have, kind of reflected back on my life and looked at the functions, it definitely does help to make sense of some of the things that happened in your life, or some of your habits or behaviors. So it does make a lot more sense when you compare them to those functions.
What differences have you found between male and female ENTPs?
Well, I mean, I still don't know too much about you, or your past, your experiences. This doesn't have any proof to it yet, I suppose, but I would imagine that an ENTP male might express their thoughts a little bit more than a female ENTP, only because I think that it's more, I guess, expected or accepted from men to share their thoughts as opposed to women. I don't know, I think women are kind of expected to be a little more quiet or a little bit more agreeable. Yeah. So I think just from my own experiences in life, I've as a female, I think I've experienced that myself.
So maybe extroverted feeling was more of a priority for you, getting to develop it and making sure that it's locked and loaded.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say based off of from my childhood, and then just going to school and interacting with kids and everything, I can definitely see a lot of extroverted feeling from even when I was in like late elementary school years or early middle school years, I guess.
Now, next question, very important. Is my hair better now or when it was longer?
I think it looks better now.
Ouch. Okay.
Is that not what you wanted to hear?
No, I would have said ouch regardless.
Okay.
Can you share an example of a recent aha moment that you had?
I can tell you one about MBTI that I don't know how recent it was, almost a year ago, whenever I first started looking into MBTI. But the aha moment I had was that I always knew people are different and they think differently, they work differently, feel differently, whatever. I realized that people literally think and behave differently, and they can't help it because it's based on their cognitive functions, whatever cognitive functions they have. And so all this time I don't know if you're gonna want to post this or not, but all this time I kind of just thought either people were stubborn, or they were too proud, or they were too stupid to think differently. But then I realized, okay, they actually, they don't have those preferences, so they literally cannot, they can, but they don't preference to think or act or feel a different way.
Inexperienced in that function use.
Mm-hmm. So that was definitely an aha moment for me when I realized that they can't help it, I guess.
Hear that, kids? Learn about MBTI and you can find out who is stupid. How do you approach problem solving and decision making as an ENTP?
Well, for problem solving, it would depend on what the problem is. For myself, the most recent issues I come up with I have to deal with are people issues due to my line of work. So with that problem solving, usually, an incident happens at work, people are being accused of stuff or, whatever. There's some kind of conflict going on, and I have to figure out, it's my favorite part of the job is doing the investigations. I have to figure out what happened and then I guess try to figure out a way to resolve the issue or what kind of actions need to be taken next. In those kind of situations, usually I like to get both sides of the story. So I want to hear both people's perspectives of what happened, and then usually we try to find witnesses as well. So, other supervisors or other employees, we bring them in, we see if they have a similar story, or, if they've got some extra details that they can provide. So I like to gather information, lots of information, and then I piece together what most likely took place, what most likely happened. From that, I guess depending on what the problem is, if it's some kind of conflict issue, then I try to figure out either, and I'm aware that it's bad because it's manipulation, but I try to figure out a way to get either one or both of the parties to try to understand the other person's side, or to not see it as bad or exaggerated as they are making it, so that they can, I guess, calm down and they can come together and resolve whatever issue there is. So I guess that's part of my problem solving, how I figure that out.
Do people exaggerate a lot?
See, from my perspective, it looks like exaggerating. I don't think that it's necessarily exaggerating on their end. It might be. That might actually be the experience that they had. I think sometimes they do because they believe that they will get something out of it if they can make it bigger in their own way, try to manipulate people to believe them or take their side. A lot of the times I think that really is just their perspective of what happened.
Do a lot of physical exercise?
No, I know that I should probably, but I don't. I'm just too lazy. I do live in a state where there is a lot of opportunity for physical exercise, and a lot of my friends are into going outside and doing physical activities. So I can, for sure, and I have partaken in some physical activities before, but I don't just go out of my way to do it, I guess.
How does the ENTP personality type influence your relationship with others?
Well, I would say this is all kinds of relationships, right? So family, friends, romantic, all that.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it has been a little bit more difficult to make friends or close relationships with women, and it's been a little bit easier to make friends with men. Or to just get along with men in general. As far as family, it's a little difficult with family because my family likes to, I guess if we're looking at MBTI, I would say that they have a lot of introverted sensing, so they like to do a lot of the traditional family kind of things that I don't necessarily see a point in doing, or just no interest doing with them. So it's been a little stressful with family, I guess. And then relationships, I don't know, with relationships are fine, I guess.
Are they? Now,
unless is there a specific question on relationships?
I don't think we need to get into that. I just want to point out detecting lies thing. When someone says one thing, but they do a gesture that says the other. So when you said it's fine, so you shook your head no, but you said yeah, it's fine.
See, this is your fault because
oh.
Well, now I started drinking, and now my memory is even shittier than before, so I can't remember. Unless you ask me something specific, then I might be able to recall it. But
no, we can't. We can't get into specifics. Okay. Otherwise, I can't put it on YouTube. Have you ever had any memorable interactions with other personality types?
Well...
Or conflicts?
Conflicts? I definitely have had... There's definitely certain types that I think I clash with. I would have to go back into my memories and try to type some of these people.
We'll keep it to recent stuff then.
Oh, recent stuff. I mean, I don't typically get into a lot of conflicts. I try my best to stay out of conflicts. My goal is to, ever since I was a young child, I've always just wanted to get along with people. I just want, everybody to get along, for there to not be any kind of issues. And so I do my best to just kind of try to keep things going smoothly, to not be a problem for other people, to get along with everybody. So I don't usually get into a lot of conflicts with people.
Do you have any favorite MBTI types you like to be around?
Well, I'm still in the process of trying to type people myself. I don't necessarily think that there's specific types. I think that really depends on the individual person, and I guess how they display their cognitive functions. There's some people, I think, of all types that would be a little difficult to get along with, and then there's other people, I think, of all types that would be easier to get along with, just depending on how they behave. So I don't know if there's necessarily a specific type.
Can you recount any humorous or memorable experiences that are specific to being an ENTP?
I can share somewhat of a funny story, I suppose. And my cousin, she does the Miss USA pageants. She was in Las Vegas competing, and at the end of the event, they had all of the the candidates, or whatever they're called, the pageant girls, had them all go to this club where they were, able to party and drink for free. When we got to wherever the receptionist was, I convinced them that I was Miss Ohio. And so they let me in, and I got to drink and party with all of the pageant girls for free. And I think they had like a famous rapper, like I don't remember, Flavor, whatever the hell his name is.
That is a famous rapper.
Or 2 Chainz or something. I can't remember who, but he was there performing. And then at the end of the night, we were both very drunk, understandably, because we've been drinking for free all night, and I had tripped and fell down the stairs, and the bouncer of the place picked me up and carried me outside, and we got him to take us to another bar, and I was extremely drunk at this point, so I can't remember very much, but I know that there was an actual pimp that was there, and his pimp name was Macaroni Tony. And he had a fancy little cane and everything. And it was just a fun night. It was a good experience with my cousin.
Sounds like it. Macaroni Tony. I'm going to remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Ohio.
This is what happened, okay? So when I was walking through the hotel earlier that day, there were 2 men that stopped me and my cousin. And she had like her little sash on that, said the state that she was from. And the guys asked me, "Are you Miss Ohio?" To which I was like, because I'm not. I said no. But I had remembered that from earlier, and that's what I used when we got to that club, because I figured, well, I must look something like Miss Ohio, so they might believe me.
So what functions do you believe you used to make this work?
I mean, that kind of sounds like I used all of them. The introverted thinking, extroverted feeling, introverted sensing, because I had to remember what those guys... I had to remember that those guys asked me if I was Miss Ohio before.
Given my understanding of the cognitive functions, theoretically, I can understand how a personality is expected to behave. And so I theorized that essentially an ENTP female would just be me, but with boobs. Mm-hmm. So far, so good. The only the negatives: Bob doesn't own a computer, which...
I have a computer. It's just a work computer. I'm using it right now to prop you guys up. I just can't play games on it, or I'll get fired.
I would say that Bob is exactly what I would have expected out of an ENTP female, certainly within the ranges.
I try to be as tactful and kind as possible because I don't necessarily I don't hate people. I don't strive to hurt people.
Hating
It's
takes
just,
effort.
yeah, exactly. Which, you know, I hear a lot of people talking about hating people or seeking revenge against people. To me, in my head, that makes me think if you have that much of a drive to harbor that kind of hate or to take that kind of action against somebody, then that means that you really deeply care either about that person or what they did to you, which I'm probably going to sound like a dick here, but that makes you're not the winner in that situation, because you're still showing that you care. Which that means that you don't have the power in that situation.
You don't have the power. Knowledge is power, remember that. Rapid fire round of quirky and fun questions. How much do you like jewelry?
I've never really been that much into jewelry. I don't know if I'm going to a certain some type of special occasion, like for my friend's wedding, when I was a bridesmaid, I wanted to find jewelry to wear so that I look nice in the photos and so that I look nice, for her wedding. But on the day-to-day, I don't care about jewelry that much.
Not materialistic.
No, I've never really been very materialistic. In fact, I think that's an issue, not to, get all into me and my relationship with my mother, but that was an issue with my mom growing up, is she's very materialistic, and her way of showing people that she loves them is to buy them things. And as a kid, I never viewed that, or even as a teen or an adult, I never really viewed that as a sign of love, I suppose. And so I've never really been into material things, I guess.
What's your guilty pleasure? I don't suppose that you actually feel guilt, so this will be interesting.
I don't know. Next question. I don't know.
Pass.
Okay. What is your guilty pleasure?
If you're not going to answer, I'm not going to answer. If you could rewrite the laws of physics, what is the first rule you would rewrite?
Nothing can travel faster than the speed of light. Is that a law of physics? Well, my reasoning for that is because especially being somebody that does drive to work, I don't necessarily enjoy sitting in traffic because that just means more time that I have to sit there and wait before I can get home and do whatever it is that I want to do. If you can go either the speed of light or faster than the speed of light, that would essentially be like teleporting, right? So I would like to teleport so that I don't have to sit in traffic. So being able to travel faster than the speed of light, or the speed of light, I guess. What did you want to be when you were a kid? Somewhere around 10 or 11, I wanted to be an astronomer. I remember one night, my mom and I were driving home from somewhere, and I got out of the car and I just looked up at the sky and saw the stars, and something about it just really made me want to learn more and understand about, the stars and stuff that I was seeing in the sky. I wanted to understand why they were there or how they got there. So I wanted to be an astronomer when I was a little kid.
Favorite genre of video game?
I enjoy playing Cyberpunk. What is that? I can't.
The correct answer was action RPG. How long does it take you to get bored with the average person?
You know what? I've actually tracked a pattern with this. It's usually between 6 to 7 months. At least with romantic partners, around 6 to 7 months. They don't even usually do anything wrong. I just one day it seems like I wake up and I just no longer am interested in them anymore. I don't want to be around them or talk to them or do anything else with them. Friends, I can stretch out a little bit longer, and I think it's because it takes maybe a little bit longer to get to know friends than it is an intimate partner. Because if you're with an intimate partner, then you're usually spending more time together and you're talking about more intimate kind of things, I guess. Whereas like a friend, usually you have to kind of build that up over time. So I think it takes a little bit longer to kind of get to know friends deeper. And then even with friends, I usually don't get bored of them enough to just completely get rid of them. I just kind of stop talking to them as much as I do, but used to before. What about you?
For the average person that I meet on the street, for example, that lasts anywhere from usually about 30 seconds to maybe 6 to 7 minutes. 15 minutes if you're hot.
Why do you think that is?
It's mystery. ENTPs enjoy people puzzles, but once you've solved the puzzle, you start looking for other puzzles.
That's true.
What do you think about that?
I do think there's, the mystery in wanting to solve a puzzle, but also if somebody does not, if they make it too difficult, I suppose, then I will also lose interest in that person, because then it's too hard and I'm far too lazy to put in that much effort to, and also I think there's also a level of not wanting to be pathetic, I suppose, because I don't view myself as like a beggar, I guess, or a chaser, because again, there's something with power going on there. Even though I don't have any type of deep desire to be, the super powerful one in the relationship or whatever, but I also don't want to be perceived as weak. And so if you're continuously chasing after people, then you're perceived as weak, I guess.
Certainly perceived as desperate.
Mm-hmm.
Got an image to uphold. Are you a bad bitch?
Yeah.
Can I say that on YouTube? Goodness. Do you have female friends?
Yeah. Yep. I have two. I have two female friends. I only made them when I was maybe 22 or 23 years old. Up until then, I've struggled to keep female friendships. I think around 22 or 23, I somehow figured out how to talk to women. I almost sound like a nerdy male, but I figured out how to better communicate with women, I guess, and how to keep those relationships.
All right, so I think that's enough for today's video. Hopefully what you were able to see is that realistically, when it comes to ENTPs, male or female, you're not going to see a lot of differences there. Perhaps a stronger preference for extroverted feeling as they get older, but in the young age, maybe a little bit of arguing, a little bit of debating, depending on whether or not it was in their best interest to do so. Still going to be a little bit lazy, still going to prefer living in an imaginary world or enjoying an imaginary world like video game playing, not being particularly physical, not a whole lot of, gym exercise, or probably no cooking, cleaning, being a good woman. Definitely still going to be living a disorganized lifestyle. And remember to stay tuned for more, what was this called?
And this is a Type Talk. This is a new series
Type
called
Talks, a new series called Type Talks. I may or may not be intoxicated for those as well. So I'd like to once again thank Bob for being here. So much courage, so brave. And as an ENTP female, we'll be doing a tier list with her preferences on there. So stay tuned for that.